Alright, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into a concept that'll have you seeing the world in a whole new light. Imagine being able to peer beneath the surface of, well, everything around us, kind of like having X-ray vision, but for the building blocks of matter themselves. And the really exciting part, this isn't some far-off futuristic fantasy. We're talking about real, tangible scientific advancements happening right now. So get ready to explore the fascinating world of excitons as we unravel the potential of this groundbreaking technology. And it's a technology that just might revolutionize everything, from how we monitor our environment to the very materials we use to build a more sustainable future. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's set the stage. Today's deep dive is fueled by some seriously intriguing excerpts we came across. A document boldly titled, "The Promise and Practicality of an Excitonic Image of the Planet." A title that definitely sparks the imagination, wouldn't you say? And behind this ambitious vision is a company called Cascade Catalysts, based out of Vancouver, BC. They're really making waves in the world of materials science. What's fascinating about Cascade Catalysts is their approach. They're not just looking at materials in a conventional way. They're delving deeper into the realm of quantum mechanics to harness the power of these things called, you guessed it, excitons. Excitons. It sounds kind of sci-fi, right? Like something straight out of Star Trek. So what exactly are excitons and why should we be excited about them? At the most basic level, think about the atoms that make up everything around us. Zooming in even further, you've got electrons zipping around the nucleus of each atom. Now imagine you give one of those electrons a little energy boost, maybe with a photon of light, giving it a little jolt to get things moving. That electron gets all fired up, jumps to a higher energy level, but, and this is the crucial part, it leaves behind a little void in its original spot, a hole if you will. Now picture this. That energized electron and that hole it left behind, they're attracted to each other. They form a sort of bound pair. A quasi-particle if you want to get technical, and that, my friend, is your exciton. So this exciton is like a little packet of energy roaming around within a material. And here's where it gets really interesting. This little energy packet, this exciton, is incredibly sensitive to its surroundings. It's like a tiny antenna picking up signals, information about the material it's embedded in. So by studying these excitons, we can learn about the properties of different materials in a whole new way. See, when an exciton eventually loses that extra energy, it emits light, a very specific kind of light. And by analyzing that emitted light, scientists can unlock a treasure trove of information about the material itself. It's like giving each material a unique fingerprint based on its exciton activity. This is where it starts to feel like something out of a detective show, analyzing fingerprints to solve a mystery. Except instead of fingerprints, we're talking about light emissions. And one of the key tools we use to analyze this light, to decipher those excitonic fingerprints, is called Raman spectroscopy. It basically lets scientists identify molecules based on how they scatter light, giving each one that unique fingerprint we were talking about. And when we combine the power of Raman spectroscopy with the information we can gather from excitons, it's like we suddenly have this incredibly powerful new lens through which we can view and understand the world around us. We're talking about analyzing agricultural emissions from space, pinpointing hidden mineral deposits deep underground, even potentially glimpsing into the composition of distant interstellar objects. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. And the beauty of this excitonic image, as they call it, is that it could revolutionize so many different fields. Imagine being able to monitor volcanic activity in real time from space, potentially saving lives by predicting eruptions more accurately. Or consider the impact on agriculture. By analyzing the light emissions from crops, we could remotely diagnose plant health, optimize fertilizer use, even measure greenhouse gas emissions with incredible precision, all from a distance. So instead of taking these broad stroke approaches, we could use this technology to tailor solutions to specific problems in real time. Precision agriculture at its finest. But it goes beyond just observing and analyzing. The document also hints at something even more radical, the potential to design better materials by understanding excitons. So we're not just passively observing. We're talking about actively using this knowledge to create entirely new materials with properties we can control. Remember how we talked about excitons being like tiny antennas? Well, by studying how excitons behave in different materials, Cascade Catalysts is learning to design catalysts that are far more efficient and sustainable. So instead of having to rely on rare earth elements for things like solar panels, electric car batteries, things that are essential for a green energy future, we could potentially use more readily available materials but engineered at the atomic level to perform just as well, if not better. It could revolutionize how we think about material science. And here's where it gets even wilder. The document even hints at the potential for discovering Earth-abundant materials that exhibit what's known as superfluidity or superconductivity. Superfluidity. Picture a liquid that flows without any resistance. Zero viscosity. It's like imagine pouring a glass of water that never stops flowing. It just keeps going and going in a perpetual motion machine. And then there's superconductivity, which is kind of similar, but instead of liquids, we're talking about electricity flowing with zero resistance. Imagine the implications. Lossless power transmission. Incredibly efficient energy storage. We're talking potentially levitating trains. Things that seem like science fiction could become a reality. Honestly, this whole excitonic image thing, it's starting to feel less like a single scientific discovery and more like a doorway into a whole new era of understanding. It's like we're on the verge of unlocking secrets about the universe that we never even knew existed before. It's an incredibly exciting time to be involved in this kind of research. So for anyone listening who's feeling that spark of wonder, that desire to see beyond the surface, I encourage you to delve deeper into the world of excitons. Because who knows what we might find? Maybe the key to clean, limitless energy. Or perhaps materials with seemingly impossible properties. Whatever it is, I have a feeling it's going to be revolutionary.